Alrighty, time for TinkerCad Lesson 1 in my class this year. This is what the assignment looks like. And when you open it up, you're actually going to see a video link here. I took it out because I didn't have the video created yet. If you're joining me just on YouTube, well, enjoy the show, hopefully. But what I'm going to have you guys do today is change the file name to Assignment 1 or Lesson 1, doesn't matter to me. I'm going to show you how to update the grid from millimeters to inches. And then we're going to use the ruler to create 4 different objects because measurements are so important. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we use measurements when we do our 3-dimensional shapes. So let's go ahead. Remember, for my class, you jump back into here and you click on the TinkerCad link right here, and it will take you straight out to TinkerCad. Now, in this case, I'm going to go to designs on the left. Sometimes it shows up on classes right here and it shows you what class you're in. It'll say join a class, whatever. Just click designs and then create 3D design. My goal this year is to make these videos a little faster so you can replay them, pause them, slow them down, whatever you need to do. First thing I'm going to do is up here in the upper left-hand corner, TinkerCad is a name generator so that it generates a different name for every design created. We're just going to call this Lesson 1. If you want to call it Assignment 1, you can. Lesson 1, Project 1, TinkerCad 1, whatever you want to do. It's just something that lets me know this is the lesson I need to go in and take a look at to grade for you. Okay? Click off of that and you're all set and done. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a button that says Settings, okay? Settings will let you know whether it's in inches or millimeters by looking at the snap grid right below it. The snap grid, it's how far this thing will move across the work plane there. So right now it's moving at 1/64th of an inch. If I switch that back to 1/8 of an inch, you're going to see how it's a much bigger movement. And if I go even bigger yet to like a 1/2 inch, it's going to move a 1/2 inch at a time and so on. What I want you to do today is click on Settings. Excuse me. I want you to come right here in the middle. Yours is going to say millimeters. If you've never been in there before, if I had you last year, you might have switched inches to your default and it would have stayed. But go ahead and click the drop-down arrow here. Yours is going to say millimeters. Click the drop-down and switch it to inches. You don't have to make it the default. That's up to you if you want to. If you do, you just hit Make Default. But if not, just hit Close Settings because we are going to use millimeters at times too. So hit Close Settings. Come down here and make sure yours is in inches. It'll say 1/8 of an inch, which is why I changed that back. That's what it'll say. Okay? So that's the first 2 sections of the assignment. Lesson 1 and 1/8 of an inch. There we go. Grab a shape, any shape. I'm going to go with the star, I guess. And then one of the other things I want to show you, I'm going to slide myself over here, is the ruler. So when we look at the work plane, we're going to do dimensions of these objects, and we're going to do depth, width, and height. And I asked in class, we talked about depth. Think about the desk or the table that you sit at in school, right? The width is side to side. The height is floor up. The depth is in front of you, right? How far does that desk reach out in front of you? Or think of a refrigerator, right? How far it is from front to back in the refrigerator, or your closet from the door to the back wall. That's the depth. And so those are the measurements we're going to do. So I'm going to take this ruler tool, looks like an L up here, drag it over and drop it in the bottom left-hand corner. You're going to see these numbers pop up. The numbers in green over here with the green rays, that's showing you basically where this point starts. It's starting that far from this 0, which is basically like the coordinate plane, your grid that you use in math class. That's the 0, 0 point. And so this point here is 4.174 inches by 0.941 inches, 941 thousandths, right? And that's where this point starts. We generally don't use that a whole lot unless we're trying to use it for spacing. What we're going to use is these dimensions here. There's my front to back, so there's my depth. This is my width, and this is my height. And I'm always going to base this off the front of the work plane, which work plane is right here. And if you look up here at this box, it says front. So I'm always going to base it off the front of the work plane. All right, so what I want you to do, using the measurements in Schoology, I want you to open up this lesson. Let's see. And we're going to go with these measurements here. 3 inches in length. So that's my depth. I forgot to change these on here. I will change that. 3 inches in depth, 4.6 inches in width, and 5 inches in height. So I'm going to come back over here. I can drag these boxes to change the measurements, but that's a pain. I can just click right in the box. I wanted 5 inches in height. I wanted, what was it? 3 inches, 4.6 inches in width. That's my front number, 4.6, 4 6/10. And I wanted my depth to be 3 inches. And just like that, I've resized an object. All right. Now you can click off of this object just to get all those boxes to go away. And then you just click on the object and slide it off to the left a little bit. Don't delete it, just leave it right there. Now pause the video, take 30 seconds to find me 3 more objects. And then I will help you resize those 3, and that's the end of the lesson. I just wanted to get you, used to sizing objects. All right, so I have my 3 shapes now. Hopefully you do as well. And if you don't, you can grab one at a time and pause the video. You do have different options over here, right? So you can go up and down, look for creatures and characters, fun and games. You can get basketballs and footballs and things like that. You can get everyday objects. One thing I did want to show you real quick, I know the toilet paper is one of them, so I'm going to drag it on here. If you get a shape like this and it says scaling locked right here, that means you cannot change the sizes. So it's stuck the way it is. So unfortunately, that won't work for this lesson, but you can use them, stuff like that other times. So I went ahead and deleted that. My first shape, all right, I'm just going to slide Cat and Roblox head here or whatever he is off to the side. I'll go with the ice cream cone. My first shape, I want, again, I will change this. I want 2 inches in depth. I want 2.6 inches in width and 4.4 inches in height. And again, I'm saying 0.6, right? This is 2 6/10, 4 4/10. So let's go. 2 inches in depth, 2.6 inches in width, 2 6/10, and 4 4/10 in height. So I'm going to come back over here. And really, it just goes left to right when you're looking at the front of the work plane. So this is my depth, right? So again, 2, 2.6, and 4.4. So it's 2. And some were like, well, why are we doing this? Well, look, practice makes perfect sometimes. And if it doesn't make perfect, it at least makes better because you get used to doing it, right? Repetition, it works. So 2, 2.6, 4.4. Great. Again, click on the shape and slide it out of the way. If one of you guys grab this and, oh man, I messed up my measurements, remember there's the undo button. Hit undo. There you go. Slide it off to the left. Let's do my next one. This one's going to be really tiny. I wanted to do something that was small just to show you. 1/2 inch in length, so 0.5, 5/10, 6/10 in width, and again, length is depth. I'm going to change this. And 75 hundredths in height, or 3/4 of an inch in height. All right, so let's come back here. I'm going to do 0.5 in depth, 5/10, 6/10 in width, and 3/4 of an inch, 75 hundredths in height. And that's it. That's my measurements right there. And again, it's super easy when you have your ruler in the lower left-hand corner. Now, if you put your ruler somewhere else, these measurements might get wonky. They might be different. Always put your ruler down here in the lower left-hand corner and use the work plane here, the front of it, and you will always have depth, width, height in this order, okay? So I'm going to slide my Roblox head or Minecraft head, whatever, over here. And let's do my little Hello Kitty here, or whatever this is. Last measurement, 1.7 inches in depth, 1 7 inches, 2 25 hundredths in width, and 3 inches in height. So come back over here and go 1.7, 2 1/4, which is 2.25. And you are going to notice when it's a common fraction, it does leave it as it does switch it to a fraction. It does not leave it as a decimal. So that's okay. That's not a problem. 3 inches in height. So just have to minor adjust that one. And that's it. And that's the whole lesson. All right. And you just leave these 4 shapes. I'll come into TinkerCad and check them. And that's all there is to it. I'll see you next time. Sorry about that.